You're not broke. You're just thinking about money wrong. And that's a hard truth, but it's also the fix because most people are not lacking income. They're lacking clarity. So today we're breaking that down. Welcome back to From Stuck to Scaling. I'm Tricia Drake, EOS implementer and podcaster. Today we're talking about something that quietly controls everything in your life and business, your money. But not in a budgeting way, because that's kind of boring, but in a thinking way. Because if your financial strategy is off, you will feel stuck no matter what you try. So today, we are going to talk to Connor Dye. He is a financial advisor and CFP with Three Peaks Financial. He's going to give us some tips and tricks on the best way that you can handle your money now and into the future. So Connor, I'm super excited to learn more about you, how you came to be a certified financial planner, which sounds really awesome, by the way, something I could probably never do.
Oh.
Never do.
I'm sure you could.
Well, we'll see. Let's see. So we met at a BNI group, right? We had an opening for somebody who does what you do. And I was really excited because we were new in the area. And it's been great to get to know you over the past couple of years about what you do and those type of things. And so I brought you on this podcast today to really share the knowledge that you share every week at our BNI meetings with the world per se, right? With Tricia's world and our EOS world. So I'm just gonna start with this one. Like,
Sure.
You left a stable credit union salary with 2 young kids at home, right? 2 young kids, your wife, your amazing wife. So walk me through the exact moment that you were like, I'm gonna go ahead and go out in business on my own, right? Be a partner with Three Peaks. What does that look like?
Yeah, so it was definitely a scary thing. You know, we'd been at the credit union there for about 3 years, and I had 3 mouths to feed on top of my own, and so making that leap from the salary steady position to leave and go do something else was really scary. But the biggest reason why we decided to make the move is because we were kind of feeling like we wanted to do more with finances. You know, credit union is great and all, but it's much more transactional. It's not a relationship. We're not doing more than maybe just a phone call or a touch point with making a deposit at the credit union.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be able to go a lot deeper with my people I was helping, my clients, and really help address their deep, hard questions that took more than just a few minutes to address.
Yeah.
I also felt like I was going to kind of be capped a little bit on my growth potential there. And unless I moved to Utah to join, the headquarters and the corporate of the credit union I was at, I knew that I had to make that change and take a chance. And it was terrifying because my first year in the new job, I knew I was going to make less than half what I did previous with the new 2 kids.
Yeah.
And my wife that doesn't work, she's taking care of the kids at home. So it was scary, but we just felt like it's where God wanted us to be. Honestly, we felt really good about it. And I talked to a coworker and told him we were going to do, and he said, I could never do that. I'd be terrified. And I should have been terrified, but we just felt kind of at peace and really good with the change. And that's why we decided to make the leap.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I will clarify, one thing. Your wife, she works a lot, just not outside the house, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, her job is much harder than mine. Let's make sure that's clear to everyone. I've tried the Mr. Mom thing for a weekend or 2, and absolutely, she works way harder than I do.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
Good clarification.
You're very welcome. Just in case, right? Just in case. We know she's going to watch this, so... All right. So now you said, like, we talked about it. We thought it was the right thing. In EOS, we talk a lot about that, right? Finding your seat, where you're the right person in the right seat.
Yeah.
The right person in an organization usually is fitting their culture, right? Exhibiting the core values of that company and really fitting into the culture. And then someone who's a right seat is someone who gets the job, right? They have the discipline, the skills, the ability to do the job.
Yeah.
They want the job and they have the capacity to do it mentally, physically, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's the right person in the right seat. How did you know the seat at Three Peaks was your right seat?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my background when I was in school, I was finishing up school, and I actually started doing door-to-door sales. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but
No.
I sold pest control for 2 summers in the Midwest, and got a lot of great people experience there. I got a lot of great experience with sales and talking to people, building relationships, short-term relationships in that case, but same kind of thing. And so I got a knack for that kind of thing. But after that, I got married. We had a kid coming. I'm like, let's not be moving across the country every summer if we can avoid it. So from there, I went to the credit union and just learned that I really like this finance thing. It's really interesting. It's really intriguing to me. And so I loved working at the credit union and doing that. But I wanted to be able to combine kind of the ability to build these long-term relationships with that love for finance. And when I came across, I applied to a lot of jobs all across Idaho. We wanted to stay in Idaho because we love it here. But I applied to a lot of jobs, and this one was what stood out to us the most because it was kind of the opportunity to become an entrepreneur.
Right.
And I had always wanted to start my own business. In this case, I had the opportunity to buy out a business over time, and that was really appealing to me. And just the ability to have control, creative control over what I'm doing, work harder and earn more money, and help people more and with their finances and on a deeper level to reach their goals. That's really what I was hoping for, and that's why I feel like it's been a perfect fit for me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. I love that. Because it's kind of funny when we do Right People, Right Seats with my clients, usually the finance seat is the one that's, funny enough, the one that most people want to get out of.
Yeah.
Right? I think what you said, you love doing that. And you really need somebody in your corner, whether you're going to work, in my company or you're just going to be on your own and I'm going to hire you, to be my wealth manager.
Right.
I feel like that's a huge thing. You have to find somebody that loves what they do, and is going to continue to do it. Right? You're looking out for my money, more so, I guess, sort of in the same way you're looking out for your own as well. But finding that person that really loves what they do, when it's up there on the board and I'm saying, who's the right person for this seat? And everybody kind of looks around like this, like, oh, I don't know. It's definitely not me. Like, don't be looking at me.
Don't make
right?
eye contact.
Yeah, there's no eye contact. But it's awesome when somebody says, oh, that's totally me. Like, I love what I do. I love the control of it. I love the money part of it.
Yeah.
And that's really awesome. So I love to hear that you actually like what you do.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a finance nerd, but someone has got to do it. So might as well be me.
Might as well be you. All right. So you kind of alluded to this already, but most young finance guys, right? I'm sure maybe when you were in college and going through all that thing, the dream is Wall Street and that hustle bustle of all that. But you planted a flag here in Idaho Falls. What do you know about the small market wealth management that maybe somebody in a big city might completely miss?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've run into that a lot more recently. In fact, I have 2 people that I'm kind of actively working on getting on board as new clients. And one of them has an advisor out in New Jersey, and one of them has one in Chicago.
Okay.
And the biggest thing that I've heard from those 2 people is that those advisors are very just pedal to the metal, take all the risk to get the maximum growth. And I think it's because the big cities and those kind of places, they're a lot less focused on maybe values, relationships, and family. It's a lot more focused on things like material things. And I think what's been awesome to work with people around here is that they're so down to earth, they're so family focused and oriented. And what matters most to them is peace of mind, number one, and number 2, just making sure that those most important things are taken care of with their finances. And that's what I've been able to do and help them. Some people want more complexity; they want more tricks and tips and things like that. But a lot of people are really they want to make sure that things are in order, and they want to know that they're going to be okay, and they can do the things they want to do with their family and their loved ones. So that's been an awesome thing to see is there's a disconnect between the big city advisors, and Wall Street, and it's just all numbers driven, and then the relationship focused people that are here in Idaho, and they're so awesome to work with.
Oh, that's fantastic. So yeah, I mentioned BNI earlier, right? We're in the same BNI chapter, Teton Titans, here in Idaho Falls.
Shout out.
Yep. So how do you feel that that's really helped your business? You've said the word like relationship building and knowing who you're with. How has that helped your business? Not necessarily just BNI specifically, but building those relationships. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some businesses out there that you don't necessarily have to have a ton of trust to give them a try, right? Maybe a window cleaning thing. If it goes bad, you don't hire them back, right?
Right.
Or, maybe just really transactional, really one-time, one-stop shop business and services. But for my business especially, it's super important to be someone that people trust because they're handing them their whole life savings. And if they're not comfortable and the people that you're trying to get referred to don't know you well enough, they don't have that relationship, they don't trust you, then they're not going to be able to send people your way.
Right.
And so it's been really beneficial to spend good quality time with people, even one-on-one, I think is the biggest thing. The group is great as a structure, but where really the magic happens is where we sit down one-on-one, we get to know each other, what's important to us, what are our interests and what we have in common. And I think that's where I've seen so much growth is in building those relationships. The one-on-one is really where it happens.
Right. That's awesome. So people looking for a relationship where I can call you to say, hey, Connor, this is going on. What do you think we should do? Kind of that peace of mind is what people are looking for, what they get from you, right?
I like to think so. I've heard people say that. All my clients tell me that's their favorite thing. They said this is where you're worth your money more than anything is you give me peace of mind.
I love that.
That is such a cool job to have that be your whole career is you just let people sleep better at night.
Right. I love
us
that.
and the pillow companies, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That's true. All right. So what's the biggest lie that the financial advisory industry keeps telling everyday people?
Yeah. I think it's kind of in line with the previous question a little bit. It's that the lie is that you need to have this super complex secret tax loophole financial plan, that you've got to do all these extra things to be able to be successful financially. And the reality is, especially when you're starting out, is it's all about just good habits and you can keep it simple, right? So if you have, you're disciplined and you're getting on the right track with your savings and investments, that's the biggest driver of your success. Now, down the road, some people want more complexity. They want to really optimize everything. But the reality is you don't need that to be successful. It's just an extra thing on top that just gets a little bit of extra, squeeze that extra little bit of water out of the towel, right?
Right.
And that's where we come in. And for people that don't have it even set up in the beginning, that's where we provide a lot of value too.
All right. So they say the best time to plant a tree, right, was 25 years ago or today.
Right.
Right. When is the best time for me to start saving money and putting money away?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar concept. The sooner the better, because everyone has heard at least the buzzword in the finance industry, compound interest. And compound interest is really what does the heavy lifting for you long term when it comes to your savings, when it comes to your investments, your retirement. And retirement when you first start off is a long time away. You don't really think about it.
No.
But even 10 years of growth is better than waiting till the last minute to try and save. But the sooner you start, the bigger that tree is going to get, right?
Right.
And the more you water it, and the more you feed it and fertilize it and take care of it. And so, consistency is a big thing. Automation of your finances and your saving is one thing I've been learning a lot about recently.
Okay.
And it does so much because you want your life on autopilot. If it's on autopilot and it's the right setup for you and you're headed in the right direction, autopilot's great if it's in the right direction, but if it's off, then you're not going to be able to reach your destination. So you got to make sure your bearings are correct initially, and then once you've done that, you can let it do its thing.
Let it do its thing.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I love that. I see a real correlation there with EOS, right? We get your vision straight. and then we're all rowing in the same direction, right? And once you've gotten it, things are going to keep going. Then take a chance to, stop and double check every once in a while. I know that we talk to you quite a bit, like, hey, what's going on and what's our plan and all of those things.
Right.
So what's your normal touch points with your clients? We like, hey, you're good to go and I'll see you in 25 years.
Yeah.
What's the best thing for you?
Yeah, definitely more often than 25 years is the standard, right? At the very least. So at a minimum, every client, we want to have at least one sit down face-to-face touch point. And more often than that, though, we try and do a lot of informal touch points. So that could be a phone call if we see something that might be concerning to them, or just that they want them to be aware of. We like to be proactive, too, when it comes to the markets and what looks scary.
Yes.
An underrated benefit of having an advisor is that you have someone to help hold your hand through those emotional roller coasters, because finances are emotional. I mean, it's not just a number-based thing.
It's true.
And one thing I've learned is that the value of being able to reach out to your advisor, they're responsive, and they're willing to talk you through things and not make you feel bad for doing that. Some people, they call me and they're apologetic, and I'm like, this is what you pay me for, right? It's my job to help you get through this difficult time. And so those touch points are really great and really important. And not enough advisors, I think, are proactive in those scary times.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, being proactive. I think maybe in my case, I might be a little afraid to reach out just because I don't really want to know, right? Sometimes, but letting it ride is the best thing.
Yeah.
Just
it can be.
Going through that. So it seems to be kind of a common thing that we're talking about, especially on this podcast, is how you're sitting in the right seat because you are good at what you do, right? You like it. You're good at what you do.
Yeah.
You have a proven track record. And for people like me who don't know really what you do, I think when I first met you, I was like, I really don't know all the things, and you're going to tell me lots of things. I'm going to be like, great, because it's not something I'm very interested in.
Right.
Like, do I want to make money? Heck yeah. Yes, I do. Am I the best at putting it in the right spaces, or knowing what to invest in, knowing what no, definitely not. And so I think that's just another great lesson, again, to learn, is that, people have different strengths, right? You are better at some things than I am, and I am better at some things than you are, right? I tell my clients that a lot. Like, you're the master of your craft. I'm not going to come in and tell you how to be a better financial planner. Heavens no. But what I'm going to do is help you get better at the back end of the business so that you can focus on being a better financial planner for someone, a wealth manager, those type of things, because that's what you love to do and that's what you're good at, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome.
Help people lean into their strengths.
Yes.
And then you lean into yours for them, right? Do a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, exactly. So what does it look like to become a certified financial planner? Like, how much goes into that? Like, how much stuff did you have to learn?
Yeah. So it was quite a bit.
Okay.
My wife was super glad when it was done because especially the prep up to the exam was a lot. So there's 3 elements to it to be able to become a certified financial planner.
Okay.
One of them is experience. You have to have a certain number of hours of having done real kind of planning scenarios or situations with your clients, with real people.
Okay.
One is education. That's the second E. And I think there was 8 or 9 courses we had to take.
Wow.
Each one being a different element of financial planning. And so that's things like tax planning, estate planning, insurance planning and risk management, and then general financial planning principles, even some behavioral finance, which was really interesting because, again, more than we realize, finances they're emotional.
So emotional.
And it drives a lot of what we do.
Yeah.
And so really it covers all elements that you'd want to consider as part of one cohesive financial plan. Okay. And so that education portion was really big, got that done. And then the big exam is pretty intimidating too. And so a lot of time went into that. I think I was supposed to have taken 3 months. I think I squeezed it into 1.5. I don't know what I was thinking. And my family was at the cabin, and they were all out playing in the lake. And I was sitting there on my computer just doing some more studying, just slaving away. But in the end, it was super great to be able to pass that in the first try, get that under my belt. Yeah. And I feel like, it really is the gold standard in the financial planning industry to have that certification and be able to look at everything for your clients. and give them the best possible service.
Oh, very nice. I love that. Okay, so you learned a ton. Was there anything that you actually had to unlearn from that training to really actually help real people with their real money?
Yeah. Yeah, I think similar to what I said previous, but the big thing I had to unlearn is just because you learned how to do all these million things to like optimize someone's money, doesn't mean someone necessarily wants to do them. And, you know, I'm able to do a lot of the heavy lifting for my clients, but at the end of the day, there's some things that we have to get some assistance on, or sometimes they have to pay for this thing, or if it's a tax thing, sometimes they have to buy something, right? Or things like that. And I realized that some people just don't really want to complicate things too much. You know, they want the low-hanging fruit oftentimes.
Yep.
I love the people that do want to get in the weeds a little bit because I get kind of nerdy with them, and we have this moment where we're just really hitting it off together.
I love that.
But more people than I realized before don't want all the things that I've learned. They just want the most important things, or they don't want to hear about those other things. They just want me to take care of it, right?
Yeah.
And so I try not to over complicate it. I try not to over optimize for my clients, because at the end of the day, they want that peace of mind, and they want to know that everything is in order. Those are the things I've seen over and over again. That's
awesome. That's really, really good. I think that goes back probably to a little bit of the relationship, right? You learning more about them, seeing how they are. You know, when you're nerding it out with somebody, it's like they're loving it too, right? But with me, maybe, you know, you're not going to nerd out too much because I'm going to glaze over and go, okay,
that's
well, whatever you say.
And I've seen that happen. Trust me. I've seen the glaze, you know. And I like glaze. Trust me, I'm a donut guy. But, I don't want to see the glaze over someone's eyes.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
That's when you know you've lost them. You've lost them. So that's awesome. All right. So there's a lot of talk about AI. I mean, it's like it is the thing, right? Everybody talks about it. Is AI going to take your job?
I don't think so. Okay. I'd like to hope so. But here's what.
Eventually.
I mean, I've learned a lot about AI, and actually we are using some AI in our business. Okay. But I think that, again, it comes down to the inputs for AI, and people don't know what they don't know to ask AI, you know, and it can do some guidance and stuff. I mean, can it help people be way better off than without? Yes, that's correct. But what it can't do is look at everything cohesively. And I think that's, or at least not right now. Maybe it'll get better at it in the future.
Right.
The other big thing is the human element. And I just think people want to be able to look at someone and look them in the eye, and they want to get that told to them so that they have the peace of mind. And I just think a computer doesn't bring that. You know, they don't have that emotional human touch. And that is something to me that I think is one of my differentiators as an advisor. You know, a lot of advisors are super dry, you know, we're the nerds, right? And so the social skills aren't always there. But I like to think that I talk to people with a lot of empathy, a lot of expertise, but that empathy piece is huge, and try to listen really well, not just to their finances, but what's going on in their life.
Right.
Because that's what's really important to them. And the finances is just something that they have to deal with as part of it. Yep. And so empathy is something that I don't think AI will ever be able to replace.
I agree with you. It's funny that no matter who I talk to, business-wise, it's always about the relationship, you know? And I think that scare of people saying, oh, AI is going to take all of our jobs. It's not. I mean, some of them to make it better, or, you know, dangerous jobs or something like that. Yeah, 100%. That's much better, so that people aren't risking their lives and stuff like that. But the human element, like what you said, and that relationship, I'm not sure how much I trust my cute little AI bot, right? I mean, my AI bot thinks that I am the most smartest person in the entire world. Like, that's such a great idea, Tricia. You should go with that. And I'm like, really? Is it that great of an idea, though? So yeah, it's kind of funny how we're learning now that it's not perfect, right? What's the little disclaimer along the bottom? Like, chat can make mistakes. Make sure you're checking stuff. And it's like, there's still a human element there, right? And you can tell when a robot writes something. You can tell when someone has, you know, put their play on it, right, to make it sound more like me, right? This was a great start, but I'm going to take this and make it sound like I wrote it. I'm going to add in my nuances and the way that I speak and those type of things. And I think that matters to people, just like what you said, just the relationship part of it, knowing that it's coming from a human and someone who cares about you.
Yeah.
Looking at what's the outcome that we want for your clients, right?
Yeah.
We want them all to reach their goals. And that's what we're looking for, is to help them get there in the best way, the fastest way possible. And what you said earlier about trust, that matters so much.
Yeah.
And I just have a hard time trusting a robot because I've seen too many robot shows.
Oh yeah, where the AI takes over the world, and it's gonna
bad.
take down the president or something like that.
Who
right?
knows? Like, Terminator is scary, and I just don't. What is that? Skynet? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little scary. All right. Okay. So, talking about AI though, like, is there a way that you actually use it in your company to help your clients?
Yeah. So, two pieces. One thing, it helps save some time on the research side of things. So when I do a monthly newsletter where I'm doing an update, economic update, where I say, this is what's going on with the major things that people really care about. And so I give it some inputs and things, but then I have it do some research for me or summarize the research a little bit better. Otherwise, I'm looking at like 30 different articles or things like that. And that's great. And I used to do that, but it saves me a lot of time to be able to summarize the research side of things on what's going on with the economy, what's going on with different investments. Also, though, some different tools have been coming along that are really cool to help analyze things like your tax return. So I'm still trying to get the most value out of this for my clients, but we have a tool that actually allows us to upload someone's tax return, at least their personal tax return, and it can pull out all this information, including maybe what credits they missed out on, what are some things they're eligible for, and just being aware on a basic level, at least, what opportunities are there for tax. So that's a really cool feature of our planning software that we have been exploring and trying to really do the most for our clients with.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great tool. Well, and it probably, it saves time and it gives you a chance to be more objective instead of having to be maybe in the weeds all the time. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. EOS is a great tool, right? But it was built before AI, right? It wasn't built before the internet or anything like that. But we're very, in the best way, I would say, technologically averse, right? I don't allow phones in my session room. We don't have computers in the session room because we want to make sure that we're all being super authentic, showing up, the power of writing things down. But I've found that there's so many ways to use AI after the fact a little bit, or to maybe stir the pot a little bit, right? Get people's minds going and those type of things. But again, it comes back to the fact that you're the master of your craft. You don't know everything. Neither do I. But most likely the answer is in the room. And I'm going to, with my clients, we're going to talk through that a little bit and try to pull the answers out of what you're doing instead of just solely relying on, the computer to do all of our work. It takes away the human element, right? Yeah. There's a possibility we're going to make a mistake, but man, we're going to learn. We're going to learn from it. And especially if it was your mistake, right? Or my mistake or whatever, you're going to learn so much from that. And keeping that human element in things. And so, yeah, I don't have any qualms about AI taking over anything because I don't think it will. I think we're all going to be here. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. My one thing that I will sometimes try and do is when I'm trying to impress my wife with like a good date night idea or something, right? I'll put in a prompt in there, and I've been underwhelmed by a lot of the stuff that it puts out there. But because I like to think of myself as kind of a creative person, not like in the artsy sense, but like I like to make up games and things like that.
That's awesome.
So when I put it in there, I'm like, I can come up with something better than that. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think I'm safe from AI stealing my wife away on the romance side of things, at least.
There you go.
There's some things you definitely can't do well.
For sure. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so I have to admit something to you that you're going to be like, oh, Tricia, why did you do that? So when I was younger, I had a 401k that actually had some pretty good money in it, and so I cashed it out.
Okay.
Is that good that I did that?
Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily a good thing either, right? It depends what you used it for, right? Did you use it to start a business that has gone and done this thing? Did you use it to go and play? That's the real question. But
yes, not the first one. Definitely didn't start a business with it. Though that would have been a good idea. Dang it. I should have done that.
Yeah.
No, it was more just because I wanted the money.
Yeah. Well, one decision isn't typically going to make or break your finances, right? So that one thing isn't going to derail you for life, I'm sure. But when you take away from the savings and stuff, and you miss out on that long-term compounding growth, that's when it really has a little bit of an impact. But like again, it's not going to ruin you. One decision isn't going to usually. It's accumulation of all the small decisions that you make financially.
That's good. Yeah. So I probably won't go back and do the math to see how much I'd have in that account now.
Yeah, that might be a sad calculation.
It would be. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So what's the worst financial advice that you followed before you knew better?
Yeah. I would say I was told for a while. I was kind of a big Dave Ramsey follower initially.
Yeah.
And so, he was really all about no debt. And even the one thing that they're kind of okay with is like 15% or 15-year mortgage with all this money down and all this kind of stuff. And the reality is now, it's not really doable or possible. And so I was probably scared for too long of getting a credit card to build my credit.
Interesting.
And, it's not doing that initially isn't going to be a big thing. I generally was taught good stuff from my parents, like avoid bad debt and live within your means. And those are great things, honestly, principles to live by.
For sure.
But I think I shied away too much for too long from some debt stuff, some debt that can be useful, and especially if it's not high interest debt, right?
Right.
And so that's one piece of advice that I probably held on to for too long. And I even felt bad because I told my sister the same thing for a while, and now she doesn't have really any credit. So we've been working on it recently and trying to get her back on track with that.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So you are definitely not the first person I've heard that from. That's a thing. Even business owners with their business, right? Like, don't take on debt. Oh, all of this scary, scary stuff. But it's amazing how you can leverage that to grow your business, to build your business. I do actually know several people who have cashed out 401ks to start a business, which is a great idea if it works out, right? Which for them it has, which is nice. When you're saying, oh, yay, it worked out, and that's good. But yeah, I've heard that a lot from people. And again, I think that just goes back to having people in your corner like you, someone who can advise you. You can kind of step back, take that emotion out of it, because it's not your company, right? And you're not going to steer someone the wrong way, but to take the emotion out of it and say, this is what you could do with that money. This is how you could leverage this, or we could take the company a different direction. Right. And I think, again, leveraging the relationships that you have with people like you, that's the way to go. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And one of the things I get sometimes is a couple that comes in and, they have some competing interests maybe, or some competing ideas about what they should do with their finances. And having a third party that's not going to blow up the conversation, right, that has some tact, like I'd like to think I do, is really helpful. And then also being able to have some data to back up and help drive that decision-making process. Data-driven decisions, as long as it's, that shouldn't be your only factor you consider, but it's an important piece if you're kind of on the fence or don't know which direction to go. And so that's one thing that's really cool about using our planning software is we can help give that extra little piece of the puzzle to make that decision final and have both parties feel good about it.
Right. No, I love that. So it makes me think of the EOS scorecard, right? Which some people think, oh my gosh, that's so simple. And how does that even work? But it does, right? 5 to 15 high level numbers that you're looking at every single week. Now on our scorecard, it's going to be activities that lead to revenue, stuff that's going to make stuff happen, right? We talk about this a little bit, with my clients. It's like, I love to count how many clients I have. Like, that's awesome, but that's not something I'm going to track on a weekly basis. What I'm going to track is is the activities that I do that will lead me to get a client, right? Because I really want the clients. I want to help people. I want to help people build their businesses. But just counting that isn't what's going to get that to me, right? It's like the phone calls that I make, the meaningful conversations that I have, and stuff like that. And what we found is that when you have data at your fingertips, when you have the right data, it can help you make smarter decisions faster.
Yeah.
You're not just guessing, how much money did I make last year? I don't really know. How much money did I spend on travel or this, or how's a way that I can budget better? And so the software that you're talking about can really help people make money decisions faster and better.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It shows how, moving a lever this way or that can make a difference, right? Or even just the different type of retirement contributions, Roth versus traditional, what's best for my situation.
Yeah.
And then, seeing the impact of what if I change this small habit and spend this little bit less money and save this a little bit more, when you are doing it and you're like, that's maybe $10 or $15 at that moment. But when you see the downstream effects that come with the planning software, it shows you how just a little bit extra can make a big difference over time. It's really cool to see. And it's just a tool. It's just like what you just mentioned, what you guys use. And so having that tool keeps you on track. And it helps organize your thoughts, and it helps really get at the root of what you're really wanting to do.
I love that. I love that. You could say that the tool helps you get traction with your money.
Yeah.
Okay. That was really fun.
I don't know where you got that word.
Oh, no, that's awesome. So you do not have to answer this question, but I really want you to. So what's your most embarrassing business failure that you've had that you can actually laugh about now?
Yeah. So in my first year as an advisor, one of the things that I was kind of missing when I started off with my business partner was the marketing element. And, he's really great with his clients and everything, but there was a little bit of head scratching when it comes to how do we just go out and just hustle and get new business. And so I was kind of desperate to try something and just to see what stuck, right? And so I was like, what kind of events are out there? I had kind of a smaller marketing budget too. And so I'm like, what can I get into? And this big banner was out somewhere, and it said that there was a craft fair coming up. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to set up a booth at the craft fair, and I'm going to see what comes of it, right? And so I went to Ross, and I got all these random items that I thought could be good raffle items. And looking back, they were probably all super lame, and nobody really wanted them. And I didn't get a ton of interest. I didn't get a ton of people coming and talking to me, but I got a couple. And but I learned from it, and it was a great thing. All the grandmas looking for their craft items were a little bit. It gave me kind of a weird look to see me there among all the booths. The woodworkers and the people that were doing the sewing and the knitting and that kind of stuff. I was a little bit of an oddball, but it was a great lesson to learn that when you go and you do your marketing, try and really focus on what you're trying to, your target audience.
Yep.
It was a great experience overall. Though, great people, great grandmas out there doing the knitting and things that are wanting.
Doing the crafts,
to spice things up. Yeah, and I probably should have given away craft stuff. That'd probably been a lot more effective.
It might have been, for sure.
It was a little, I don't know if it was embarrassing, but it was definitely a learning experience, and it was still fun.
Well, that's good. Well, you either win or you learn, right? So lots of learning there. I like your little tidbit about your marketing, right? You got to go where your ideal client is. Figure out where that is. You got to hang out where they hang out, right? Is it the golf course? What is it?
Yeah.
And being there with your target market, that'll help you get to know people more, create those relationships, right? And all that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. All right. What is the dumbest thing that you've ever spent money on besides the craft fair booth?
I would say anything nice for my house that my kids ended up destroying, right? Yeah. So we bought like a dining table a couple years ago, and I think we got it on a little bit of a deal too, but it's a really nice kind of wood top dining table. And my kids, I should have known better. My kids really have just destroyed it. They're banging their forks and they're scratching things, and they've got their like they've got their Hot Wheels cars that they're playing with on the table.
Right.
And it did teach me a good lesson, though, is that not only can you not have nice things, you shouldn't have nice things as a parent with little kids, because at the end of the day, when they go and they, throw up on the couch or something like that, it's not going to be nearly as big a deal if you bought it off Facebook Marketplace for a quarter of the price, right?
That's true.
And so for me, honestly, that's been something I learned from it. It was a bit of a painful thing to have happen to the table, and it's got like all these scratches and stuff on it. But yeah, again, a learning experience.
Yeah.
They're all learning experiences.
Yeah, we learned that kids are the reason that we can't have nice things.
That's true. Maybe someday when they grow up and leave the house.
When they grow up and leave the house, yeah.
You got a long ways to go.
Yep. So yeah, you had 2 kids. You have 3 now.
Yeah.
And you have 1 on the way.
I do.
Which is also isn't it a boy?
It's another boy.
It's another boy, which is so much fun.
Oh, we make these boys.
I love it.
We had a video of us reacting to it too.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of excited, and I'm just sitting there going, and you hear me say, another boy, 4 boys. My poor wife, right?
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, boy moms are fun. I'm a boy mom, and it's fun. But yeah. So will you try for more?
We'll see. We'll see.
love
I
it.
think we'll wait and see how this one turns out.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we had gotten a girl, we'd be done. I'm pretty positive
Right.
about that. But I think we'll leave the door open, and we'll see. We'll see what God wants. We'll see
Yeah.
how He feels.
I love that. I love that so much. That's really awesome. So we'll just make sure that the new son never sees the video, just in case.
Yeah. Well,
Delete
yeah.
that one off
Hopefully
Facebook.
he'll understand.
Right.
When he lives with his brothers and sees how
3 older
crazy they are,
brothers,
hopefully
yeah.
he'll be
Man.
understanding of my reaction.
I love that so much. All right. So talking about your kids, though, what's the wildest financial lesson that one of your kids has accidentally taught you?
Well, I kind of stole from it earlier, about the nice things thing. But another thing was my son decided to have, a lemonade stand. And that was last summer, right? And so he got it all set up. We did the thing. We got a little bit of money. And the biggest thing that he wanted to do with his money is just play with it. Like he thought it was a toy, right? And so he was playing with it so much and like carrying it around the house and all this kind of stuff that he would slowly lose like a dollar bill here or lose a quarter there. And pretty soon he had like $3 left in his little piggy bank, right?
Okay.
And part of the issue was it didn't have a lock on it, right? And so he could access it and play with his money. And I think we are a little bit too loose and play with our own money a little bit, right? And the more you're playing with your money, the more likely you are to lose it without even realizing.
Yeah.
And so being intentional about, put some money away and really put it away. Lock it away, put it outside, out of mind. So one of the best things to do is to put your money, your savings into a separate bank account, out of sight, out of mind. And when it's not there, you're not playing with it, it's not easily accessible, it's much less likely to be tempted to go play with, right? So have some savings automated to move it out of sight. That might be into a retirement account or something else. But yeah, certainly from my son, I learned, don't play with your money. At least don't play with all of your money. Make sure you put some aside first, and then you can play a little bit.
Have a little bit of play money.
Yeah.
Everybody needs play money.
You do need some play money.
Right?
It's important. You don't want to go
Right?
scorched earth for forever.
That's true. Right. When you have good play money, you can take your wife on really good dates.
That's right.
Non-AI generated dates.
That's right.
Oh, I love that. All right. Okay. Keeping with that theme a little bit, one more question. What's the wildest thing the client has ever asked you to help them invest in?
Yeah. So I'm gonna turn this on its head a little bit. And actually, the wildest thing was someone asking not to invest in something. So
interesting.
There's been a lot about this international stuff with like China and all that kind of stuff. And so we had a client call us up and say, I want anything that has anything to do with China out of my portfolio.
Wow.
And I said, well, I hate to tell you this, but China has a little bit to do with everything, right? We're probably all wearing something that was made in China. We don't even realize it.
Probably, yeah.
Getting that granular down to, anything that has anything to do with or says made in China or anything like that, it's just not really possible, And,
Interesting.
And I believe that's what that's called. It's called values-based investing.
Okay.
And some clients want us to do that for them. And it's a great idea in principle. But at the end of the day, it actually limits and really hurts people's return if they're focused so much on all these little details and things.
Okay.
And it's better to focus on what the overall investments do and the health of those investments, and then go from there. And then we tell our clients, if you still are really passionate about these causes, we'll make you more money. You take that money and you give it to those organizations that you do support, and make change in those things that you want. And you'll have probably a much bigger impact than if you're worried about all the little things that you don't agree with that you're invested in.
Right. Oh, well, that's really awesome. I love that. That went somewhere I didn't think it was going to go. So very nice. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, Connor, thank you so much for being here today. It's been amazing getting to know you and your business a little bit more. So thank you very much. How can people reach you? What's the best way for them to learn more about you, reach out, set up an appointment?
Sure. Yeah. So threepeaksfinancial.com. When you go there, on the top right-hand corner, there's a tab that says Make an Appointment, and you can schedule it on my calendar that way. You can also text me at 208-881-5505. Or call the office, and our awesome assistant, Bonnie, can get you on our calendar.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you again for being here. So this was
Thank you for having me. It's been a great time.
Yeah, this was really, really informative. So thank you very much. Well, I don't know about you, but I learned a ton of stuff from Connor today. My name is Tricia Drake. I'm an EOS implementer and a podcaster on From Stuck to Scaling. You can reach me at tractionwithtricia.com. Don't forget to follow me on all my socials, Traction with Tricia. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe our podcast, and I will see you at the next episode.